You may be looking for something to keep the kids busy over winter break, or a way to fill up a cold winter day. Well, today, Wandering Wisconsin has just the place for you: the John Kohler Art Museum and Preserve in Sheboygan. Right now, they're celebrating 50 years of their artist in residency program called Art Industry. It allows 12 artists to work inside the Kohler Company foundry, giving them access to industrial materials, processes, and technologies. And perhaps most importantly, access to the Kohler factory workers to learn their trade. The art produced by the residents is on full display right now at the museum. To help you plan a trip and find out what you'll see there, Lake Effect's Becky Mortensen is joined by Jody Throckmorton, the museum curator, and Amanda Weibel with Travel Wisconsin.
So, Jody, I'd like to start by learning a little bit about the art industry residency program. I understand this is the 50th year of this program. So, what is it?
The Arts Industry Residency is an incredibly special program that is in its 50th year, believe it or not. It started in 1974 here at the Art Center, and importantly, it is a collaboration between the Art Center and Kohler Company. So this is a residency where we have hundreds of applicants. In fact, last year we had 650 applicants for 12 spots a year. And if you earn one of these 12 spots, you get to go into the foundry and the pottery at Kohler Company and work in studios directly on the factory floors. And so this means that you are amidst the sort of the energy, the active production, the loud sounds, and even the heat, frankly, of a living factory. But with that, artists get access to industrial materials and they get access to industrial processes and technologies. And really, most importantly, and what is for me one of the key parts of the residency and this collaboration is the fact that the artists get to work directly with the factory associates. So those are the glaze chemists. Those are the mold makers that make the industrial products for Kohler Company. So artists are able to work with these really skilled craftspeople to learn how to make their work and troubleshoot the often incredibly time-consuming and difficult pieces that they want to make. So in my time at the Art Center and my research I've done, there's really not many programs like it. And it's all due to the vision of Ruth Kohler, who was our longtime director. It started with an exhibition where a ceramics invitational exhibition where 80 some artists were invited to be part of an exhibition at the Art Center in 1973. They were invited to the factory for a day of seminars. And of course, they had an incredible day with the factory associates and learning about industrial processes that they asked Ruth, wow, Ruth, I'm paraphrasing, don't know exactly what they said, of course, but wouldn't it be amazing if artists would be allowed into the factory to make their work? And so Ruth spoke with her brother Herb Kohler, who was then chairman and CEO of Kohler Company, and really the two of them together in their incredible vision brought this program to fruition. And the first artists in residence, there were two, Tom Ladusa and Chak Earl, and they made over 120 works in their first month in the residency.
Wow.
Things have shifted a lot, and now we're at 4 artists at a time, there for 3 months at a moment.
And the art that the residents create, can we see that at the museum then?
Yes. So the Art Center has a theme every year that unites our programming. And for 2024, it's all about celebrating the arts industry's 50th. So there are a lot of works made by the artists in the factory out right now. And as part of their residencies, the artists kindly gift one work to Kohler Company and one work to the Art Center. So these objects really tell the story of not only an artist practice, which is incredibly important, but also the processes and technologies in the factory and the experimentation, frankly, that take place. And so there's some really special work, and it's a special moment. I know there's only a few weeks left in 2024, but we always have some parts of the collection out arts industry wise, but we don't always have this much. So it's a special moment to come and see what these artists are able to do in a factory.
Yeah, I recently visited the museum, and one thing that stood out to me is this blending of hard work and artistry.
Mm.
Metalworking and forging, these are not easy jobs, but they do result in something really beautiful. So, can you talk about how that's sort of shown through the art at the museum?
Absolutely. I think the factory certainly has an effect on the artist practice, not only in what they're making, but I think in how they make. It's a common misconception, I think, that the artists coming in are people already familiar with ceramics or metal smithing. And it's sometimes artists that have never worked in either material, which is also incredibly exciting. But I think your point about the labor in some ways being visible in the work that's made is very true, because I think that's one of the things that artists and factory workers, for example, really connect on. This is a moment when they're approaching a process or a material, perhaps for different reasons. One for industry and to make toilets or sinks or whatever it may be, and the other for a more visual or conceptual reason. Not that there's not crossover between those, of course, but they're uniting in the middle over this idea of making and craft, and I think that really drives it.
Hmm. Is there something on display at the Art Center right now that kind of stands out to you?
Yes, there is. There's a couple really special pieces actually that are on loan to the Art Center from Kohler Company's collection. There's a very early tile mural that Jack Earl did that's quite tall and quite large. And this is the first time that it's been outside of the factory. It's usually installed in the lunchroom in the factory, and Kohler Co. allowed us to take it off the wall and bring it into the museum space for the public to enjoy. And it's really a layer by layer look at the Kohler factory. So that's everything from the coal, which is the manufacturing waste or those products that aren't perfect enough to go out in the market. Those are things that are damaged or broken at the bottom, to a wonderful portrait of Herb Kohler at the top. And so it's an ode to everyone that works at the factory, and including honoring Herb Kohler and his vision for the program, and Ruth as well.
I'd also really like to talk about the preserve. So there's the main Kohler Art Center in Sheboygan, but just a couple miles away, there's the preserve. And this place is, I think, so cool and unique. It mainly features folk art, but it focuses on artist built environments. So, can you explain that a little bit?
Absolutely. So the Art Preserve was built 3 years ago. And an artist built environment is something that the Art Center, it's a field that the Art Center has really been instrumental in developing. It's a really unique form of art making where the spaces have been so significantly transformed by an artist that it's like the artist's art and life are all in one. And so that and with that said, there's a whole range of environments. We have 35 on view right now, which is really extraordinary. And it represents collecting that has been going on for a very long time at the Art Center. To talk about Ruth Kohler and her vision, she was someone who recognized that museums really were not collecting this type of work. It was being forgotten, it was being left behind. And so she worked hard to see how this is an emerging genre that artists really work through and point to some really, frankly, important things related to American history and American art history. And how do we become an institution that can support this type of work? And it's really about being artist led in what we do. Going back to the residency, right? That was Ruth listening to the artists and saying, "Wow, what could we do in this factory?" It's very similar with the artist built environments. It was Ruth and the many curators that have come after her that have recognized how artists are working in this mode.
Hmm. The first time I went to the museum, it was to see the rhinestone cowboy house, but I was so impressed by the scale of some of the other environments, particularly the healing machine on the third floor. That was such a delightful surprise to walk into for the first time. Can you talk about these two artist environments and maybe share a favorite of yours?
Absolutely. Those are two of my favorites. So you've picked very well, I think. But I will also share another one as well, because there are many. But the Rhinestone Cowboy House is by an artist named Loy Bolin, who called himself, or really became, the original rhinestone cowboy. So he would dress in incredibly beautiful, dazzling outfits that he made himself with rhinestones and glitter. And he would do performances in fairs or flea markets or shopping plazas. And he would dance and play music and tell jokes and all sorts of things. He even, I will add, had I believe it was a Cadillac covered in rhinestones as well. So he had an entire persona. At the art preserve, what you'll find is his home, which he called the Beautiful Holy Jewel Home. And so it too is covered in rhinestones, as well as in the interior construction paper covered with more glitter and rhinestones. And so we because of the work of and this is true for a lot of the things at the Art Preserve, and would be good to share for those that might say, oh my gosh, there's someone in my town that does this type of work, right? Has really transformed their living space into a work of art, is that it's often one person who recognizes that this is a special thing and that it needs to be preserved, that brings it to the attention of people like us. And so an artist, Katie MD, actually brought it to the attention of the Art Center. And we were able to collect his entire house from Mississippi. And so you can come in and see all that the Rhinestone Cowboy was about. There's also videos you can actually watch him, because so much of it is about that sort of persona that he really inhabited and became. And then the healing machine is I think everyone, if this maybe this is my plug, but I think everyone in Wisconsin and right, we can wish the world needs to take a yearly pilgrimage to the healing machine, because it's an incredibly special work of art, and perhaps it even transcends what a work of art is. It's by a man named Emery Blagden, and he inherited a property in Garfield Table, Nebraska, which is in western Nebraska. And he started to make objects that he thought could channel healing properties from the earth. He had a history of cancer in his family, so he really wanted to create a space that could be healing through, magnetic fields, electric currents, really harnessing the earth's natural energy. And so, again, very luckily, a man that had known Emery found out that the piece was up for sale at auction and managed to rescue it. And it found its way happily to us at the Art Center. And so while we can't exactly recreate what it's like, what would have been like in Garfield Table, Nebraska, in that shed, you are able to walk through and get a sense of what Emery was trying to do with this incredible healing machine and the work that he was making.
I love that idea of a yearly pilgrimage.
Right?
It is that special. It is. We can't talk about either of these museums without talking about the bathrooms. They're kind of hard to describe, and each is unique, but they're these works of art just on their own. So what can you share about the bathrooms?
Yes. The bathrooms are, yes, one of the absolute standout things about this place. I think every facet of life should be filled with art. And the bathrooms are part of that too. And really they do stem from the arts industry residency and the work that Kohler Company has done with their artist edition series and things like that, because they all are artist design bathrooms. And so that's early on by artists like Matt Nolan and Cynthia Cosentino, who did some of the first restrooms at the Art Center that are talking about male and female bodies and how they operate in these spaces. One of my favorites is Anne Agee, and that's also at the Art Center, and that's in that sort of blue and white Dutch ware style. But she spent a lot of time in Sheboygan in the area, really looking at water and the importance of water, not only Lake Michigan, but looking at different water plants and car washes, even bottled water at the grocery store. And in these bathrooms, I would say every detail has been thought through. The toilets are designed by the artist, the sinks, and on and on. And then at the Art Preserve, they did a really incredible job commissioning two Wisconsin artists, actually, Beth Lippman and Michelle Grabner. Both Beth is located in Sheboygan Falls, and Michelle in Milwaukee. as well as an artist duo from Philadelphia, Paul Swenbeck and Joy Feasley, to make restrooms there. And you'll be happy to know that on the third floor, Paul and Joy's restroom is inspired by the healing machine. And so, while you're doing something that is incredibly basic, you're looking in the mirror, you're in the bathroom, something that we all do frequently, right? It still can be a transformative experience through art. So it's one of the best things about the art center.
It really is. And I didn't know that about the healing machine, so that's so fascinating. All right, Amanda, I'm going to turn to you. If the bathrooms at the art museum aren't enough for people, they can also go visit the Kohler Design Center, which is nearby. What can you share about that place?
Well, if you're a fan of interior design and history, you are going to love the Kohler Design Center. It's a three-level building showcasing all the latest products and designs and technology. So you can wander through the open showrooms and get a feel for the latest faucets, sinks, and more. You can check out some model bathrooms and kitchens to really get some great inspiration. And don't forget to visit the company museum in the basement either. That's where you're going to learn about the history of the Kohler family, the company, and the community while marveling at some of their original designs. And through the Kohler Design Center, too, you can also book tours of the Kohler factory. So I definitely recommend taking a tour. Those tours are led by retired factory workers. So they just have decades of knowledge and personal experience that just makes those tours so special. It's a fantastic behind the scenes look at the skill and the artisanship behind each and every product.
What else might people want to do on a trip to the Sheboygan area?
Sheboygan has activities for all interests. If you are traveling with a young family, check out the Above and Beyond Children's Museum. They have tons of hands on interactive exhibits, and every different floor has a different theme. As we head into winter, if you're an adrenaline seeker, maybe you want to try some winter surfing. That might be something you've seen out on Lake Michigan in the Milwaukee area too, but Sheboygan's location along the shore really produces some of the best waves on Lake Michigan. And Sheboygan's actually been named the Malibu of the Midwest. So, great place for surfing. And you don't have to be a pro. The EOS Surf Shop right in Sheboygan offers surf lessons to beginners. So, something fun to check out, and honestly, even just fun to watch if you don't want to surf yourself. Another great recommendation is Three Sheeps Brewing Company. That's a well known brewery that's based in Sheboygan, and visitors are welcome to tour the brewery. You maybe have tried their beers throughout the state in different restaurants and bars, but they also have some taproom exclusive beers to check out.
Are there other places you would recommend people could stop in to warm up after some surfing to get some food or a drink?
Certainly. I mean, there are so many great dining options to choose from. Trattoria Stefano is an excellent destination for dinner. They have been in the Sheboygan area creating these memorable meals for 30 years. And they really lean into time tested Italian cooking traditions as well as locally sourced ingredients. So the food is phenomenal. You're going to get mouth-watering appetizers, pastas, entrees, much more. If you're looking for a great lunchtime meal, make a stop at Nyajong Cafe. That translates to Hello Cafe in Hmong. And they opened 2 years ago. They're bringing traditional Southeast Asian flavors to Sheboygan. So you can get some great meals like banh mi sandwiches, papaya salad, Hmong style soup, which sounds just perfect on a day like today. Sheboygan it also holds the title of the bratwurst capital of the world, and restaurants around town embrace that. They'll serve you a traditional brat sandwich where you'll get a fried brat on a round Sheboygan hard roll topped with chopped onions and brown mustard. So that's another meal worth tracking down while you're in Sheboygan.
And how about for people who want to make a weekend out of visiting the Sheboygan area? Where would you recommend they stay?
For an absolutely unforgettable weekend stay, you're going to want to do the American Club. This is Kohler's iconic resort, and it's the only hotel in Wisconsin to receive AAA's Distinguished Five Diamond Hotel Award. I mean, this is a complete sensory experience throughout the entire stay, from the delicious homemade turtle chocolates that will await you in your room when you check in, to the water based therapies at the Kohler Water Spa. You are just going to be stunned by the hospitality and attention to detail. Another fantastic option for families is the Blue Harbor Resort. It has this iconic coastal looking feel to it. And there are a ton of activities and things to do while you're there. One of the main attractions at the Blue Harbor is an indoor water park that's called Breaker Bay. And that's going to be fun for the whole family. They have a lazy river, they have water slides, pools, of course, a surf simulator, and more. And finally, for another historic experience, stay at the Rochester Inn in Sheboygan Falls. This bed and breakfast has been operated as a hotel since 1848, and each room is just beautifully designed in this timeless look that's going to be perfect for couples.
Okay, Jody, if folks from the Milwaukee area are looking for something to do this winter, why would you tell them to make the trip to Sheboygan to check out the museum?
Well, I'd say that there is a treasure in everyone's backyard in Wisconsin, and that's the Art Center and the Art Preserve. It's a collection that is internationally renowned, but it has such local connections, and I think there's honestly something for everyone to experience. And we didn't even talk about the performances and programming that we also have going on as well. So our website is always up to date with that information, and you might be able to catch another exciting performance or dance or something going on. There's always something happening at the Art Center, and it's an exciting place.
And what about you, Amanda? Why would you recommend people go check out that museum?
I think the Kohler Art Center upends many people's perceptions of art in Wisconsin. Art and culture really isn't limited to the biggest of the big cities in Wisconsin. In communities of all sizes, we support the arts and really in some unexpected ways. And the Kohler Art Center is just a perfect example of this. It's this incredible free museum that's been ingrained in the community for more than 50 years. As Jody mentioned, displays work from renowned artists, and it also just fosters the talents and creativity of artists through their programs like the Arts Industry Residency. I also think that the Art Preserve really has to be one of the most unexpected museums that I have ever visited. And, winter's a great season to explore these indoor gems. So it's a great time to plan that trip. And there's so much else to do in the Sheboygan area that you are going to have no trouble putting together an itinerary for a really memorable winter getaway.
Amanda and Jody, thank you both so much for joining me for Wandering Wisconsin.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Jody Throckmorton is the chief curator at the John Kohler Art Center in Sheboygan. Amanda Weibel is the communications officer for Travel Wisconsin. They spoke with Lake Effect's Becky Mortensen as part of our series Wandering Wisconsin. To find other winter travel suggestions, visit WUWM.com or check out the Wandering Wisconsin podcast. And a note to our listeners, the Kohler Foundation is a financial contributor to WUWM.